Hey, it's Jess Booty here. I thought I'd just do a very quick, spontaneous review of my cold steel Colichemarde. I just got it like 2 days ago, and yeah, couldn't really find any videos on YouTube apart from the cold steel ones where it's just Lynn Thompson stabbing cherry tomatoes. But anyway, so this is going to be a very brief, thing. Look at pros, cons, and what I personally think about it. So essentially, what this is a small sword with a Colichemarde style blade, which means the fort or the strong of the blade is quite thick, when that tapers down to a very fine point. Like, that's super fine. The reason why it was this was just so you got some more parrying capability. Some people say it's to combat sabers. I wouldn't really go up against a saber with a small sword, to be honest, because you're just going to get your ass handed to you, essentially. But yeah, let's quickly look at some of the pros, shall we? Because I always like to start with good news. So, first up, the actual maneuverability of it is very light. It's super light, as you'd expect a small sword to be, because they're thrust-centric swords, if you don't know anything about small swords. So yeah, very light. The point of balance is around about here, which is, very good. I'd say this weighs about maybe a kilo, just under it. Don't have the exact measurements. The actual construction overall is, I can't really complain all that much. It's pretty good. The wire wrap's nice. You can sort of move these big ones just a little bit, but honestly, for a point, centric sword, you're not going to be doing any of this movement really that much, so it's no issue. Another really good thing is it's very attractive. I'm a sucker for keep on saying cold steel, for small swords and spadroons, even though they're not the best swords in the world. I just really like 17th century style swords. That's including like sabers and whatnot. But I just always like these. I've always had an affinity for civilian swords as well, such as rapiers and whatnot. So yeah, it's very nice. I've done some nice little details. Just, it's simple. I really like the sort of wings on the hilt here. It's very nice. So yeah, pretty attractive. Also like this, you got a little clip, just sort of a loop thing on the scabbard. It's nothing. Not sure how historically accurate it is, but it's really nice to mount it on your wall, because I just got a little hook, put a chain on it, boom, hangs on the wall very nicely, and it fits in the scabbard quite well. So once you put it in, the scabbard won't fall off. You can even turn it upside down. If you give it a shake, it will come out. But so it fits in there pretty nice. And I also have a quick look at the cons. One thing which really frustrates me on this is the seam of the leather stitching on the scabbard is on the outside, meaning like you've got the clip here, so it'll be mounted this way, and here's where you have the seam. Nothing too drastic, I just would have preferred it on the other side because, just frankly, the seams look a bit ugly, but nothing that terrible. On the blade, when you look right at the base, you can see here, you got these gaps, not on this side, on here. So it's not perfectly central in the hilt, the blade is, which sort of affects the handling just slightly, because it's slightly to the left, and if you were to swing, you don't get that nice swish sound, you get a whoosh sound, because very slightly the blade is tilted. so you got to sort of tilt your hand if you're going to swing it. But again, it's a small sword. You're not going to cut with it because you got no cutting capacity. I mean, look at that. Another minor thing, you know, it's really just minor things. When you put it in the scabbard, it doesn't completely seal. You have this little gap just here. Barely noticeable, I noticed it, but it's not a high range sword, you know, high price range, so you can forgive these sort of things. One annoying thing, however, is the actual throat of the scabbard. I'm not really going to say anything, I'm just going to show you. Okay, that is glue here, and the wood core is not touching. It's like you can sometimes when I've put the blade in, I've accidentally stuck it beside the wood core there, which is, you know, that could have been done a lot better, and getting this glue off is stuck on there pretty good, so it's not going to really happen. And another annoying thing is more just a design thing. The scabbard, see how it tapers down to accommodate for the tapering down of the sword, is annoying because sometimes, I'll see if I can replicate it, if you put it in, you get this, you hear that? It sticks into the actual wood of the scabbard and you sort of got to wiggle it in because the point is so fine, it gets caught on these sides here, so you can't just slide it in. You've got to make sure the scabbard's either completely vertical, or if you're going horizontal, you've got to sort of wiggle it in so you're not stabbing it. And since the point is so fine, it sort of worries me that I'm going to bend it a little bit, so go do that little wiggle. Yeah, but overall, I'm quite happy with it. You know, I got it just because, frankly, not many companies do battle-worthy reproductions of small swords and sabers. Cold Steel does. Again, Cold Steel, they're okay. They're not high range. You know, they're not like Albion quality or whatnot. They're quite cheap, so you can forgive these little things, you know. I'm not a huge fan of Cold Steel. I think they make good enough stuff for what you pay for. I think Lynn Thompson's an absolute wanker. He needs a, oh my god, like in the proof testing, when he's stabbing cherry tomatoes, like that doesn't demonstrate anything about the sword. You can do that with a fork. All it's doing is just caressing his massive ego, which he needs to sort out because he's just a twat. Sorry, bit off topic there. But yeah, overall, I'm quite happy with it. You know, got it off Colichemarde for about, I think it was going for $250 US or something. I had to pay an extra like $200 shipping because I live down here in Australia. But no, I'm happy with this. It performs pretty well. I stabbed the cardboard box it came in about half a dozen times, and just how easily it goes in is just great. And this now sits just next to my bed, and yeah, looks pretty, and it'd also be a good home defense weapon because of just how small it is. But yeah, there you go. Cold Steel Colichemarde. I'd give it about 3 out of 5 stars. Cheers.